Welcome to the Land Your Bet Sports Betting Show. Late here on Monday as we get ahead of this Tuesday slate with just 4 games in the NBA to choose from. We are going to be coming back tomorrow with final plays and best bets in that live stream as we do each and every weekday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure to come in there with some bets that you guys want to look at as well. Jump in the comments, throw those in there, and we'll get going on looking at some of those together as we've been doing. A decent night, not great, honestly, on Monday night. A couple things that could have fallen our way at the end and didn't. If Tobias Harris had come through, which he did not, put him right back on the no bet list, we would have looked a lot better. But either way, only lost about half a unit on the night. So we'll keep it going here, looking at a few of my best bets that I have here early on Monday night, like I said, and then we'll at least throw some projections out there and some early leans as we look at the lines as they've recently come out here for our slate on Tuesday. So let's get right into the first stuff that we're talking about here, which is this Golden State and Miami game. If you are liking what you're getting, please subscribe to that page, like these videos as well, jump in the comments, let me know what you guys think of everything that we have going on here and what you are going to be playing here on Monday night. But looking at this first game with the Dubs and the Heat, got a couple injuries for the Heat, as been the case the whole season. Bam is going to be available, but Tyler Hero's still out. Jaquez is questionable, as is Kevin Love and Josh Richardson. For the Warriors, the Rook Trace Jackson Davis finds himself on the injury report here with the Dubs favored -2.5. Total on this game is 217.5. As we look at a couple things here in the last 5 for both of these teams, pretty tough strength of schedule for the Dubs, who have been playing some really good teams, including that tough loss on the road to Minnesota last game. The Heat, not quite as good of a schedule, about middle of the pack there, but they are coming here with a home game with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo both playing, at least, is something that we can finally say. The offensive rating for the Dubs has been fine, 7th best in the league over their last 5 games. Defensive rating back down to about 6th worst in the league in that time. Playing some pretty good offenses, but more so just playing good teams and not playing good defense. The pace for them continues to be high as well, 11th fastest. It's been faster at times, but this is about where they are on the season, still around the 8th, 9th fastest on the season. And then the rebound percentage, 12th best, but really they've been attacking the offensive glass, as we know, a ton, shooting the ball pretty well, defensively, not defending the shots for their other team very well at all, down low or otherwise, to be honest. For the Heat, it's a fluctuating rotation of guys, so it's tough to really pinpoint what their actual offensive rating or defensive rating should be. We know their D rating is always going to be good, though. Top 10, 7th best in the last 5, 17th in the offensive rating category here in their last 5, and that's about where they've been for most of the season as well. In terms of pace, they have been slowest over their last 5 games, slowing down even further than the New York Knicks, who have owned the slowest pace in the league for most of the season. The Heat only over the course of the last 5 have picked that up a little bit, but both these teams playing super slowly in terms of the Heat and the Knicks. Rebounding for the Heat, been all right on the season also, same concept here, 15th in the last 5 in terms of rebound percentage, but that's also, like I said, been the case for them for most of the season, struggling to rebound compared to what you would expect for the Miami Heat. And then on defense, middle of the pack in that defensive effective field goal percentage over their last 5 games. The offensive shooting has been awful as well, 22nd in the league with that effective field goal percentage for them. So it does sort of seem like there's an under in play here. If we look at the way that the Dubs score, offensive rebound percentage would be top because in the last 5, because they're basically just relying on Steph and other jump shooters to make shots, or they're relying on their guys grabbing those offensive boards to give them second possessions. That's really it. And there's not much of a fluid offense the way we've seen in the past with this team. They're taking a ton of shots from above the break because they're really relying on Steph and at times Clay to try to shoot them out of the holes that they dig for themselves. Same concept with the mid-range. They're not really quality at getting all the way to the basket. That's why we've seen them have to pull up and rely a ton more on as a jump shooting squad than anything else. And in transition, it's just non-existent. They're just really not pushing the tempo. They don't have the guys. They're not getting a ton of stops on defense, which doesn't really allow them to push the pace. So that's why we've seen things slow down a little bit for them, and certainly on offense, slow down for them. The Heat now, we're talking about them stopping a lot of what this Warriors team wants to do. They are first in limiting the opponent offensive rebound percentage, which is huge, because if you keep the Dubs off this offensive glass, they've got to hit like 55% from the field to really compete in these games the way that they defend, which is not well. In terms of the above the break frequency for the Heat, that is where they give it up, and they've been weak there all season. They're giving up the number one opponent field goal percentage above the break on these 3-point shots, dead last in their last 5. Not playing the greatest competition either for that to be justifiable, to be honest with you. And the mid-range stuff as well, not really stopping jump shots. So that is the way that you beat this Heat team, is if you can make jump shots against them and you don't rely on having to get to the rim, then you'd be all right. And to be honest, that is how the Dubs have been scoring. But I still think the Heat are able to lock up a little bit better on defense against shooters than maybe they've been playing in recent past. And they will limit any transition stuff if the Dubs wanted to do it, which we've made clear they don't. On the other side of the ball here for this Miami Heat defense, they are not getting to the free throw line at all. And they are not really getting to the rim with any kind of success. Dead last in rim field goal percentage over their last 5. So it's been a really troublesome offense to watch for them. The Dubs, they struggle a ton in terms of defending the rim. But, I mean, if you look at the way that the Heat have been going to the rim, it doesn't really matter. The Heat aren't getting to the free throw line either. And Golden State, as bad as they've been on the season in terms of limiting free throw attempts for their opponents, actually been pretty good about that in their last 5 games. Like I said, against really good competition with that 6th toughest strength of schedule over their last 5. Maybe one spot, if you think about it, that the Heat could rely upon here to get their points would be the corner 3. They are shooting the highest percentage from the corner threes over their last 5. Not doing it that frequently, though. 21st in the frequency with which they're shooting those shots. And the Dubs have been kind of weak there, but I don't really rely too much on corner 3 stuff as like a way to dictate if someone's going to do well. It is sort of an indication of ball movement, but there's not much correlation there between the Heat and their threes from the corner. Playing teams that are weaker hasn't really helped them necessarily. So I'm not totally buying into the Heat's ability to score from deep on this Warriors team. My leans for this game are the Warriors to be able to cover and also for this game to go under, to be honest with you. I cannot see a ton of points coming with the way that the Heat will slow this thing down and do everything they can to make sure that the Dubs don't speed things up. So with that in mind, I think an under is a bit more likely of a play, and the Dubs, I would bet that before anything, but these are just leans for me right now. I'll be following up on those tomorrow in the live stream at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Game number 2, which I feel like would be a really good game, but we probably won't have LeBron James in it. So it's at an 8.5 point spread. And to be honest, that's too high for this Lakers team against the Bucks team that I don't care if LeBron's playing, to be honest, because this Bucks team has not impressed me very much over the last couple of weeks. And really outside of that stretch right when Doc Rivers took over, not really impressive at all. So like I said, LeBron probably not playing. He's doubtful in this one. AD is likely to go. And then all the guys that have been missing for the Lakers are still out. For the Bucks, we're actually going to be looking at them being pretty much fully healthy with Giannis in there, Chris Middleton probable, and then Marshawn Beauchamp would be the dude who's questionable, but obviously hasn't been that important to this team this season. If we look at some of the last 5 stuff for both these squads, the Bucks, both these teams playing really good competition over their last 5 games. The Bucks' 3rd strongest strength of schedule, and the Lakers here with the 9th hardest. Both these teams playing really well on offense and not so great on defense, right? 233.5 in this matchup here in the total. And the pace for the Lakers has been high, but the pace for this Bucks team has not. It's just been that they've been really good on offense over their last 5 games, despite playing really good competition. So I don't know that they're going to need the pace, but these two teams do speed things up when they play against each other. Now, that is in part because LeBron loves to get out in the break without very many guys to stop him on this Bucks team, or really in the NBA or in NBA history when LeBron gets a full head of steam. But that is a big reason for why he would like to get ahead of this Bucks half-court defense, which has been good at times when they can get set. It's their transition defense that's been terrible. And that is a big reason for why if LeBron was in, it might be it would definitely be a lot lower of a spread. I would guess that he's worth about 3 points to this spread, and it would be closer to 5.5 if he were not in. Some interesting stuff, though, with and without LeBron. They are scoring a few more points per game, also giving up a few more points per game as well in the 9 games that he's missed this season. So the pace, we'll see if it maintains for this Lakers team without LeBron, but the points have been there without him as they're getting up a few more 3-pointers is really a big part of it. The rebounding edge does seem to lead towards this Bucks squad, especially over the last 5 with the 6th best rebound percentage. Rebounding for the Lakers hasn't not been quite as good over their last 5 games, bottom 10 in that category there. Both teams shooting pretty well on offense and not limiting the other team's effective field goal percentage quite as well when they play defense. If we take a closer look at the Lakers offense, I mean, it's a lot of green in terms of being in the top 10 in free throw rate, which they've been number 1 pretty much the whole season. From rim frequency, rim field goal percentage, they're attacking the rim a ton. Bucks, they should be a little bit better at it. They will have Giannis back, who honestly, we all think about him as really important to the offense, but he's probably at least as important, let's say, to the Bucks defense as he is to the Bucks offense and limiting what the other team wants to do. So with him back, I do think that opponent rim field goal percentage at 13th best. And if you see an asterisk next to the rankings here, that actually means that it's the season season-long ranking, not the the last 5 ranking. So I do think it's a little bit more important to look at the way that this Bucks team has played on defense on the season rather than just in the last 5. And we do have enough of a sample size with Giannis in there to know that they're a much better team protecting the rim with him in there. So I think they'll do a little bit better at that. But I do know that in transition, they're going to continue to struggle. Over the last 5, they've been good, and on the season, not quite as good, right? Limiting what the other team wants to do in transition. So I do think the recent numbers for them are a bit skewed, and we should consider the fact that they've struggled to defend transition. But we also know that this Lakers team doesn't get out in transition quite as much without LeBron. So it's sort of a 50-50 give and take there in that sense. But if we look a little bit more closely at this Milwaukee offense, you'd think they'd be getting to the bucket a little bit more, but they have not. The rim frequency is only at 17th. Now, Giannis has missed a few games in the course of the last couple of weeks, so we want to take that with a grain of salt when we look at how often the Bucks team is attacking the rim. But we do wish they were getting to the free throw line. At least if I was a Bucks fan, I would really wish that they were getting to the free throw line a ton more. 4th fewest free throw attempts according to free throw rate, right? So that's really rather than just how many times you're getting to the line, it's the frequency with which you're doing it, because we know different teams play at different pace. So that sort of negates that factor. But the stuff you want to look at for them is they are become a bit more of a jump shooting team. And once again, these numbers are a little bit skewed in terms of the last 5, because even one game without Giannis is going to force this team to be a bit more jump shooting than they would otherwise probably want to be. That even said, I do think that they're likely to be able to score against this Lakers team that has been struggling on defense a ton over the course of the last couple of weeks. And LeBron hasn't really been a plus on defense, just to be totally honest about it. So him being out doesn't necessarily mean this defense is going to get worse, but I don't love the way that it's been looking. So let me look at a couple of the best bets I already did place from this game. And the first one, it's kind of easy, and I think you're going to be seeing this one a ton on Tuesday. So I wanted to get ahead of it here on this video Monday night, where I talk about D'Lo and D'Angelo Russell to get his assists, because it became a bit common among all of us here who cap these games for a living to take D'Angelo Russell assists as soon as we see LeBron James sitting on the bench, right? And so if you look at the way that he's dimed up without LeBron over the course of this season, he's got 9 games without LeBron this season, gone over 7.5 in all 9 of them. So the fact that we're still getting minus 110 on MGM for him to go over 7.5, got to get a full unit on that. But I even want the 10 plus assists for half a unit at plus 186 as well, because I do buy into the idea that this Bucks team will continue to give up assists to point guards and whomever the main ball handler is on the other team. And that's going to be D'Lo without LeBron. That's why he's gone over in all 9. He's averaging nearly 11 in the 36 minutes that he's been playing. And he's been getting minutes with LeBron in there as really sort of the third banana on offense for this Lakers squad. So without LeBron, those minutes should shoot up about 4 more minutes per game than he's been playing at about 32 minutes per game. And you can see the potential assists when LeBron is out. He's averaging 16.5 of them without LeBron. 10 assists on 16 potential assists. It's a high number for sure, but I think it's worth the squeeze of that juice there that you get with the plus 186 on DraftKings at half a unit for him to get the 10 plus dimes. And that should say not LA, but the Bucks there are giving up the 10th most assists per game to point guards. So there is good reason to believe that they're going to continue to do that in terms of, like I said, not just the point guard, but the main ball handler for this squad to get his assist, and that being D'Lo in this one without LeBron. All right, second best bet that I did already place here on Monday night is a Dame Lillard bet. Same game, same position as what we just took with D'Lo, but we're going with points for over 22.5. Doubt that we'll still see that number here on Tuesday morning rather. So if it is 23.5 and you can at least get that at minus 110 or better, I still think this is a good bet. I took the 22.5 points over at half a unit, and LA is just a bottom 10 defense versus point guards and guys who are going to do what Dame Lillard is doing, which is scoring off the pick and roll, scoring above the break, and scoring at times on the pull up, right, as well, because Dame is the guy dribbling the ball a lot and pulling up from deep and from everywhere, really. And that's where I should say the Lakers do struggle to defend more than anywhere. They're going to be looking at a couple tough matchups if Dame is able to get any of the switches that he wants with the screens that would then pit either a tall guy on him or preferably D'Lo. Even if D'Lo is not already guarding him, then he's going to be looking to sort of hunt him down and get D'Lo as his defender, so he can just really do what he wants at that point with the way that D'Lo is pretty weak up there. And that's a big reason for this season for why the Lakers have given up so much from above the break and everywhere that D'Lo is playing, because they want him in there for his offense. So he's had a complete resurgence on offense this season, looking like the Nets D'Lo when he was real nice. And now we're talking about him getting a few more minutes, which does lead to the other team's point guard doing really well. Dame did fail to go under in this last one against OKC, but that was because it was a blowout for them, and as a result, he didn't really need to take very many shots, even though he played 33 minutes. Before that game, he was taking about 20 shots per game. So for him to get 23 points on, let's say he even takes 18 shots, and that number dumbs down from the 20 that he was taking to even 17, right? Someone like Dame Lillard, who is getting to the free throw line about 6 times per game, pulling about 8 threes per game, he doesn't have to hit quite as many shots to get to that 23 points, right? Especially with those free throws that he normally gets. They might not be there against this Lakers squad quite as easily, but like I said repeatedly, this is a tough matchup for the Lakers, who are already bad at defending exactly what Dame wants to do. The usage for Dame does spike against good teams when you see him playing these teams that are actual playoff teams. Over the course of his last 10 games, he's gone over in 7 of the 10 games that he's played over the last 10, and 6 of those 7 teams were playoff teams. So we know that when push comes to shove and it's Dame time, right? We know that Dame likes to put the ball up and take a few more shots more than anything. So I'm not worried about Giannis being available in this one. He did go over the last time that these teams played with Giannis in there. So that's not a concern of mine. We're going to go over 22.5 points for Dame and hit that early here on Monday. Final game that I'm looking at here, because there's a 4th game, but it is going to be pretty dependent on the injury report, as it's Dallas and this Kings squad who both played on Monday. So they're both going to be looking at back-to-backs here. We need to see a little bit more of that injury report before I feel comfortable, although off bat, kind of lean under in that game. So let's look at the injury report for the Thunder is non-existent. They don't have any rotation players that are on the injury report, so everybody is available. And then for the Pellies, obviously pretty important that Brandon Ingram is out and Dyson Daniels is out, but most importantly, Brandon Ingram is out now after he got injured in that Magic game. We'll see what that does for them moving into the playoffs, as they've been one of the hottest teams, as you can see in their last 5. Even in their last 10, and really since the All-Star break, this Pellies team has been a top 5 team in the league, and basically the second best team in the West, maybe third, depending if you put them ahead of this Thunder squad, who's been backsliding a little bit, but they're still in contention for a 1 seed in the West. And although they played a really bad strength of schedule over their last 5 games, so have the Pellies. So I don't glean too much from that, just saying, well, the Pellies have played tough comp, Thunder have not, so blah, blah, blah. No, more importantly, I think this Pelly squad without Brandon Ingram is likely to struggle a bit more against this Thunder squad. Now, they should be playing defense pretty well, and we've already seen this total drop a few points from what it was when it opened at 225.5. So that does indicate that there's probably people are expecting a bit more defense from the Pellies, especially without Brandon Ingram, which you have to make up for his lack of offense now by playing even better defense. But if you look at them over the last 5, a top 10 offensive rating, top 5 defensive rating, playing at a slow pace, gobbling up rebounds and not giving up second chance points at all, limiting what the other team is doing and scoring very easily, right? That said, the Thunder, while they've had a bit more difficulty, without Brandon Ingram, this is a tough matchup for the Pellies. And I'll just be totally upfront. I lean -2 at such a small number for the Thunder, and I could see that number going up. Now, Pelly's going Pelly, which oftentimes means Pelly's going to lose when you think that they should win, but it also means that sometimes they're going to win when you think that they should lose, because this is sort of a sneaky game for them at home, coming back to play in their building where they've been really good. And the Thunder have been much better at home as opposed to on the road where they find themselves for this game. So it's still a lean for me to go -2 on the Thunder. I've not yet bet that game. I'll let you know definitely on that live stream tomorrow at 5:30 p.m. Eastern. And I'll definitely be running through that Mavs and Kings game a bit more as well. So make sure to tune in. That is all the time that I have for you guys in this one. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow with that live stream that we continue to bring you guys. So make sure that you are subscribed to that page if you would. Tune in tomorrow. Jump in the comments with your bets as we've been doing. We'll go over those together and try to keep this thing going. Pick up the half a unit that we lost here tonight and get better with it tomorrow. So best of luck, and until I see you next, happy betting.